Pisces, welcome to my channel and my wild hair day. Thank you for your patience. This is going to be your energy check-in for 2026. Any messages of, oh Pisces, someone is spying on you. Just got the Page of Swords flip over. Any messages of guidance for the remainder of 2025, messages for 2026. The strongest messages will come through. Don't shoot the messenger. So Spirit always brings forth the strongest messages, and it's amazing how it works. I haven't figured it out yet, but there's always a specific message, and sometimes it's just for one person, and it is independent of timing. So that person might even watch this 3 months from now, and that message will be relevant for them, which is why I say the readings are timeless. Because when you do click on a link, when a link does show up, and you feel called to click on it, then there's a reason, and that there is a message in there for you somehow. Okay, Pisces, as I'm shuffling, I'm just meditating on your energy. I feel like a certain sense of excitement for December, a certain sense of excitement for the closing of this year for some of you. New love for some of you as well. That's the feeling that I'm getting. New energy. I am also feeling a little like I'm drowning. I just felt, when you jump into water too quickly, or you accidentally breathe water up your nose. That's what I was feeling, or that's what I was seeing, that burning sensation in my nose. What that could be is a sudden rush of emotion that you weren't expecting, Pisces. A sudden pang of emotion. And we can never control when that happens. It's always it's always the strangest thing with grief or with emotion that is being processed. The strangest or the most unexpected thing can trigger an emotion. So I am feeling like it caught you off guard a little, but it's something that needed to be released, or that needs to be released. Card of anxiety just flipped over. Maybe that's just about closing the year off with no loose ends, Pisces. I do feel for some of you that you could have Aries ascendant placements, which is very hardworking, very determined, very passionate, very much about wanting to close things off, pursue new ideas. So if you don't know what your placements are, there is a link in the description box for that. I'm also now doing birth chart readings and relationship chart readings, Pisces. If you are interested in a deep dive of your birth chart and to look at, some insight into what your purpose might be, what your lessons are here on earth. It's not a prediction, it's not a crystal ball. What it is a tool to help us understand ourselves deeper. And I always used to think, how does a snapshot of your birthday and time define the rest of your life. No, it doesn't define the rest of your life, but the deeper meaning behind it is the soul chose a specific time to enter the earth realm, for certain lessons, with certain parents, with certain families. Those are the lessons we chose to come here to learn. And so the timing and the placement of the astral bodies in the universe at the time of your birth are like a blueprint for your life path. And I wouldn't have easily believed it unless I had done my own birth chart and understood my placements. It suddenly made a lot of sense to me. So if you're interested in that, Pisces, you can also reach out. All right. And I feel like a lot of you might be, because you are deeply intuitive, and there is a thirst for knowledge of deepening self-awareness. At least the Pisces friends that I do have, there is definitely a thirst for deepening self-awareness, for growing, for evolving, using, the tools that are available to you. So this is just another tool, Pisces, if you're interested. Okay. Why am I seeing Japan for some of you? Like the full kimono, koi fish. Maybe some of you are taking a holiday in Japan or wanting to go to Japan, but there's some kind of ancestral lineage as well for someone watching this reading. When they show me snippets like that, it's usually, if you resonate with that, if that makes sense to you, then there will be a message for you in the reading. Okay, Pisces, Spirit, please and thank you for the sign of Pisces, strong placements, messages of guidance, messages to close out 2025, moving into 2026. Anything Pisces needs to know, anything Pisces needs to know, please and thank you. Only jump. Oh, wow, okay. Queen of Wands, exactly, Aries, the card of Aries, and that's what I was picking up. The anxiety or the impatience, Pisces, that you might feel right now about closing off the year, about feeling frustrated that things may not have gone according to plan, according to your timeline for where they are supposed to be right now. That is your Aries energy coming through. So definitely I feel like you will have strong Aries placements in your chart. If you don't, there was an Aries energy I was getting from you anyway about trying to push, the last bit of what needs to be done in 2025 and feeling a little bit frustrated that it's not maybe landing as you would have liked to hope. This is also about your intuition. The Queen of Wands, very magnetic energy. It's fire energy. Fire and water, not always compatible. So there is this push and pull within you, Pisces, to go with the flow, but then also to push. And that is the balance of masculine and feminine energy that you are working on. Because you can find yourself in a state of burnout if you are in over masculine energy, action, hustle, performance, and also in a state of stagnancy or lethargy if you are in a overly feminine state as well. You're not the type, and the energy I'm getting is you're not the type to sit and wait for things to happen. But what's nice about this energy is you do have an intuition about where things need to move to. So you will know when to pivot, you will know when to let go and to move on. And that's the energy I'm feeling. There might have been some new ideas, new projects, new things that you wanted to birth and land in your physical material world that haven't kicked off. And even though you are a little bit frustrated, you're not despondent, I feel like you are renewing your energy to adjust that idea or adjust that project or whatever it is that hasn't maybe gone according to plan. They're drawing my attention to the sunflower. So some of you might love sunflowers. Moving forward very quickly. Yes, that is the energy. Moving forward very quickly, Pisces. This is a card of Cancer. It is a major arcana. So it is about leaving something behind. It is about moving swiftly to another chapter, moving swiftly onto something else, trusting your intuition about it, and being very mindful and balanced and concentrated about your next step. Sometimes this means leaving a village behind. So some of you could be relocating or traveling in 2026 or towards the end of 2025. Cancer energy is also about nurturing. It's about nurturing family, emotion. So this festive season or in 2026, you might feel like you were in overexertion in 2025. I was wondering what this pink thing on my nail is. Overexertion in 2025, and maybe realizing that you need to balance that out with some quality family time, with some nurturing time with your loved ones. You could have been working really hard in 2025, Pisces, and there have been some sacrifices that you've made with respect to family. So wanting to change that in 2026. This is the emotion or the pang of emotion I was picking up in the meditation and shuffle. You know, there's a mild depression here, and you are a water sign. This is a card of Scorpio. So we have Scorpio, we have Aries, we have Cancer on the table. Cancer, the major arcana. You could be dealing with any of those signs, but this card of Scorpio represents regret. It represents a sense of boredom or a mild depression about something that was lost, something emotional that was lost, Pisces. And it's focusing on, you know, it's those moments where we tend to focus on what was lost and not what we still have, or not, you know, being able to look to the future. That's what this card is. You know, it's a heavy energy. But it is a passing energy. So you are going to be moving swiftly through that, Pisces, because as a major arcana trumps the minor arcana. This is a minor arcana, so it's a day-to-day energy. It's not a life theme. And it's okay to be in those moments sometimes. It's okay not to bypass them and have a sense of, you know, toxic positivity. It's okay to feel that emotion when it comes up and to allow it to release, and to be kind and compassionate with yourself when that does happen. It's a 5 energy as well, so this could be related to change in some way or another. There's a change that's shifting in your emotional imprint, in your emotional landscape, and that can be challenging because it could be a pattern that has been long-standing and your nervous system is wired to a certain way of feeling or being. And there's a change that's coming in. So there is, you know, when we are releasing, when we are evolving, when we are making different decisions and new choices in alignment with a new way of being, our nervous system and our whole body goes into flight or fight, and it starts to, try and grab our attention, like, hey, this is not the normal, this is not normal. It's just a sign that you are shifting, Pisces. There was something I had to do this week that was extremely hard, do or not do. And it was a day of grief, because it was literally releasing an old way of being, an old way of showing up. And I was choosing something different. I was choosing myself for the first time. But it felt so conflicting in my body. It felt awful. It was such a simple thing, but it was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do or not to do. And what I was getting is that, this is hard because it has been your way of being for so long, and you're grieving a previous version of yourself. You are grieving a version of yourself that chose something different, that wanted something different, that hoped for something different. So it isn't easy always. It's clarity, Pisces. There's clarity coming in for you about a certain situation. This could be a moment of insight, a neuro shine moment where you suddenly realize the reality of a situation. This is about cutting through illusion. And this could also be why you are feeling this loss, because when we do face the reality, sometimes we're not in the reality of the situation for whatever reason. It could be our own unconscious patterns. It could be, hope or faith that we have in something. And when you finally start looking inward and choosing yourself instead of overcompensating or overgiving, there's a sense of loss that comes with that clarity. There's a sense of loss of a fantasy, the loss of hope. And your energy is very much about, fantasy. Your planet, Neptune, is all about illusion and all about fantasy. In fact, when it's Pisces season, there's an astrologer that I always laugh at. She always says, that's the season you want to drink, because the emotion and the illusion is so thick. But those illusions are falling away, and for a Pisces, that is quite a tug of war to manage within yourself, is letting go of the illusion and allowing the clarity. But this is a new beginning. This could also mean clear communication with someone, maybe someone that you haven't been in contact with. There's a conversation that's happening. There's divine timing to this conversation as well. That might bring in a sense of closure, emotional closure, or balance. But either way, Pisces, it is bringing forth clarity in your space. This is also a card about boundaries. And I think in your previous readings, I can't remember exactly now, because when I finish the readings, I generally release them, so that I'm not carrying that emotion or feeling. But I do vaguely remember that your previous readings were about choosing yourself and walking away. Excuse me. Usually when I sneeze, that's confirmation about something I'm saying. It's about walking away from situations that do not reciprocate or are not emotionally fulfilling. And that is the boundary. That is the personal boundary that you are putting up, Pisces. Only jumpers, please. Do I take it? Okay. I think this is the boundary, Pisces, and this is the new beginning. That's so interesting because the Ten of Swords, the next card in the suite of cards is the Ace, because that's the end of a cycle, that's the beginning of a cycle. So there's a new cycle happening here, and for some of you, this could have been a painful ending, and maybe it's the release of the illusion. Because the Ten of Swords is always, it's a card about betrayal usually. There doesn't have to be a betrayal here. I'm not sensing a betrayal. I am sensing maybe a betrayal of self because of, and that's something you're only realizing now, betrayal of self because of your giving nature and how you've been maybe playing the role of the graveyard for other people's unhealed emotion or unhealed behaviors, and you were absorbing all of that. That's the boundary I'm sensing now. That's the recognition, that's the insight, and that's the illusion that's falling away. You might have been thinking that you were helping in a way, but what's actually was happening in the situation is that your energy was being siphoned or drained, and you were doing all of the emotional labor for the relationship, for the connection, for the situation, whatever it may be. And you're pulling your energy back now and choosing to draw clear boundaries with certain situations and relationships. Your cards are just jumping out. The wounded warrior, the wounded healer, Sagittarius, card of Chiron. This is about resilience. This is about the lessons you are integrating. And again, when the illusions fall away, it can be quite intense. This is also fire energy. So, again, being a water sign, it can burn sometimes, but you are rising above the lessons. You are moving through the lessons. You're standing up resilient and brave and courageous, and not backing down. It's that hitting that last rep. As Derek Grant, one of my favorite people, if you haven't watched his videos, please go and watch. He makes so much sense. But feeling like you want to give up and then hit, just pushing yourself to hit that last rep, because that the future version of yourself is looking at you to do this, and is going to thank you for doing this, and that that every single action is important. Every single day of showing up, every single moment of showing up is important. So it is resilience, Pisces. It's also, I feel like the lessons that you've come here to integrate are now starting to show themselves in a way that is conscious to you. They might have always been there unconsciously, but especially between the ages of 38 and 50 is when we really start to experience the soul lessons. Before that, it's the ego grind. It's building the career. It's, and we operate very much from an unconscious manner. Until, and I'm talking about Gen X, maybe, Gen X, millennial even, the other generations, Gen Z and Gen Alpha. I haven't figured them out yet, or when they start to integrate soul lessons, or if they are the soul lesson. But there's an energy of really facing, looking, really having a mirror to everything, and it can be extremely triggering and challenging, because you start replaying different chapters or moments in your life and realizing and recognizing the patterns, recognizing what went wrong in certain situations, in certain relationships. It's an emotional audit. It's almost like an audit of your life. It's like sitting with a council of elders and watching a reel of your lifetime and seeing it from a different perspective, seeing it with the lens of compassion, seeing it with the lens of kindness, seeing it for the lesson that it was bringing in for you, Pisces. The bottom of the deck, the world, card of Saturn. Oh my God. And that's Saturn is the planet of lessons. It's the planet of karma. The planet that is very, very structured. You know, the rules, the regulations. It rules over Capricorn. So if you've ever interacted with a Capricorn, you know what I'm talking about. It's the practicality. It's no zero emotion. But it's also the end of a cycle. And I was actually thinking about this morning. We all have a Saturn return. It's usually when we're 28, 29, where the Saturn return comes in to shake up something in your world and to reflect to you whether you are still in alignment, whether you are in alignment. It's also quite a important transition, 28, 29. And then again, the period I was mentioning, but it is about karma, it is about life lessons, and there are cycles that are ending for you now, Pisces. There are cycles that are ending and cycles that are beginning, but you are moving forward very swiftly with very, very courageous, powerful energy and with mindfulness here. So I don't feel like this is going to hold you back in any way. I do feel like you've made the decision to get onto the chariot and ride it out. Anything else here for Pisces? Anything else here for my Pisces? Please and thank you. Wounded warrior again at the bottom. Anything else for Pisces? The Hangman, that's your card. Major Arcana, card of Pisces. It's about looking at things from a different perspective. It's about enlightenment. It's about taking the rest that you need, taking the meditation, the time alone that you need to integrate the downloads that you are getting and to listen to your intuition, to quiet the noise down so that you can actually hear what your intuition is saying to you. Some of you might also be at a crossroads, deciding, which decision or which path to take. And this requires you to pull back your energy a little and to reflect and to trust your intuition, your gut, your heart, and your mind. Making a decision with all of those centers, major arcana. So there is a pause coming up for you, Pisces. A decision that needs to be made, exactly. The energy of the Lovers, which is a card of Gemini, but I feel like it's a major arcana as well. You could be dealing with a Gemini, but this is also about a choice. It's about two sides of a coin, looking at different perspectives, and this is divinely guided. So this choice or decision is going to be divinely guided, Pisces. For those of you that are single, this could also mean a divine partnership coming in for you in 2026. And it's because of the work that you are doing to align with your higher self that the right partner, the divine partner, that a divine match then comes in to help you and support fulfilling your purpose. New beginnings again. So Aries energy, definitely new beginnings here. This card also came out for Aquarius, and so did the Queen of Wands. So you could also have strong Aquarius placements because you are winged by Aquarius and by Aries, air and fire. But this is a new beginning, a passionate new beginning. It's about transformation. So you have two cards of new beginnings here, air energy and fire energy. And air fuels fire. So there's definitely a new cycle starting here for you. And this is also about new ideas coming to you, Pisces. Creativity. Anything else for Pisces? King of Swords. That is a card of Aquarius. So again, the confirmation maybe to check out the Aquarius reading. Or if you have strong Aquarius placements, this is about speaking your truth. Again, re-emphasizing, thank you, Spirit, the sword energy of drawing boundaries, speaking your truth, speaking from neutrality and not from a point of emotion, and maybe making this decision, taking, this decision logically as well, Pisces, without your emotions getting in the way of it. This is also about speaking your truth and standing in your truth. So that's amazing, Pisces. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Two of Cups. So there definitely could be a divine partnership coming in here for you. If it's not romantic, then it is a partnership that is going to be purposeful for your life path, Pisces. But overall, definitely good energy. I'm seeing new beginnings, endings of cycles, your creativity sparking up, the illusions falling away, recognizing what you need to do next and moving forward very swiftly. So that's amazing energy for 2026. And 2026, they just reminded me, is also the year of the horse. And this is the chariot energy. If you think of a horse and a chariot, it's fast moving energy. And it's a 1 year as well. It's a 1 year, which is new beginnings. So your path is definitely aligning with the energy coming in for 2026, Pisces. I love that for you. Thank you so much for your patience and for being here. I'm wishing you all a beautiful festive season, blessings and love. Thank you for the support of this channel in 2025. And stay safe, Pisces, until the next time.